Well, good morning, everyone, and happy Easter. Welcome here to White Rock United Methodist Church. I'm Reverend Phil Dieke. I'm one of the pastors on staff here at White Rock, and it is my joy to welcome you for Easter morning. We're so grateful that you've taken the time to come and spend Easter with us today. We hope that you've had a lovely Easter thus far, and you're getting to celebrate and enjoy this day of resurrection. We want to do something a little bit fun, a little bit special, recognizing that often on Easter, there's people who have come and worshiped with us who maybe have not been with us before. And so we thought, what a great opportunity to bring the full staff on here. So we have our program staff here with us this morning. Hi, everyone.
Hello, happy Easter.
There they are. And they're joining us. We're going to just have a little conversation so you can get to know who we are as a staff. And really what I wanted to know was kind of the background and histories and what people's favorite memories are about Easter. I have a lot of really fun memories, and that'll help you understand who I am as a person because this is one of the best stories that I don't know why this memory sticks in my head the most, but I remember one year I got a new pair of sandals, and everybody who knows me knows that I pretty much constantly carry around flip-flops with me everywhere, just because this is what I love to wear on my feet. But I remember getting a new pair of sandals for Easter morning, and I started to walk out the door to go to church, and my mom was like, "You can't wear those to church." And I was like, "Why would I not wear those to church?" And she was like, "It's Easter. You have to dress up for Easter." And I was like, "Jesus wore sandals?" And she couldn't argue that, right? She had no argument for that. And so then I walked up the door to the church. I think I was a freshman or sophomore in high school.
And now you work at a church where you can wear your sandals, Phil.
It's amazing, right?
Yes.
Full circle. It's all full circle right there. So, yeah. Anyway, so I would love to know, those are the things I think of on Easter. I think of doing Easter egg hunts, and we had a really big yard, and so it was really hard. We lived out in the middle of nowhere in the country, and so we did some of that stuff and had the Easter baskets, and Easter bunny came and all that kind of stuff. So I would love to just know, when you think of Easter, what are some of your favorite Easter memories that you have? Oh. And don't just jump in here, right? This is a conversation.
Well, I dressed up as the Easter Bunny a lot for when I was in the youth group, and because I was a preacher's kid, I got forced to do that. And so I remember having to it was an Easter Bunny that was owned by the Hershey Chocolate Company. So it was a legit one, right? Was that right?
Why was it? Yep,
because our church worked for their promotional side of things, and so they had direct access to this Easter Bunny costume, and it smelled horrible, and I had to walk around and let kids punch me in the stomach.
Oh gosh!
What children punch the Easter Bunny? Don't they want them to bring something?
Suburban kids.
Suburban.
Okay.
Yep.
Can't say that that's something I've seen happen at White Rock.
No.
So I'm really encouraged. If this is your favorite memory of Easter, this is only going to get better from here, I can tell.
So I don't know if this is my favorite memory, but something certainly that I had never experienced before, which was really cool. When I served First UMC up in Gainesville, Texas, we had a family of members in our church that owned a lot of land, and they had a little plane, and they would actually do a flyover and drop candy onto their huge field, and all the kids would wait in the safe zone, right? And then they would run out once the plane had done the drop. And that was really fun. I mean, as a city girl, I never got to do anything like that. So I was the music minister, and we would sing some songs, and then the kids run out and get candy. And it was really cool. I had never seen anything like that. Yeah.
Did you run out also?
No, I didn't. I'm not much of a candy person. If that's going to be one of your questions, Phil, what's your favorite Easter candy? I have very strong opinions about what's the grossest Easter candy, but not what's my favorite.
You're not a big chocolate person in general, or just Easter candy in general?
I like chocolate, but Easter chocolate's usually cheap and waxy. So if I'm going to pay for chocolate, I'm going to pay for really good quality. So I have a whole soapbox on this.
See this. I'm learning something. I didn't know you had so many opinions about chocolate. What's the worst candy for Easter then?
Peeps, of course.
We had before we got started here, we had a really long conversation about Peeps. Did you know that wasn't it America, Dexter? 60 million? No, 600 million. Sorry, 600 million Peeps are consumed every Easter season. 600 million, everybody. That's ridiculous.
And Dexter is
how many children?
For 100 million of those.
How many children in America, and then just divide. Math probably works out just fine.
It probably does.
Cash recently just bit into a Peep, and he was not a fan. I think it's a consistency issue. The texture is just really strange.
So weird.
Yeah.
I actually I'm convinced that they're not actually consumed. I'm sure they're bought, but I bet most of them actually get blown up in microwaves.
Yes, I think that's true. I think they get thrown away, or like they get bought but not eaten.
Yeah, absolutely. Or like stuck on weird people's like cars or something. I don't know. Keith, what about you, man? What were some of the favorite
Oh
memories?
gosh, well, I've got almost 40 years to pull from, but
you're older than 40.
You're only 40?
I'm talking about
no, but what you do when you were kids?
crafting worship, and we always got new Easter outfits and went to Kessler, and it was the full deal. I mean, with the tie and the coat and the new shoes and all that kind of stuff. Mom and Dad, when grandkids came along, always had an Easter egg hunt, and they loaded up an egg with is either a $20 or a $50 bill.
Yeah,
Can't remember. And it always seemed that one of the grandkids ended up getting that over the other grandkids, and it was never Mitchell or Becca. So, nope, never got the $50 or the $20 bill. Theologically,
Mitchell had a lot of animosity around Easter right now. I'm feeling.
Yeah, he still had enough candy to, fill.
I love Easter. Easter's great.
No matter the size of church, all of them, many of them feel like they need to do Handel's Messiah, the Hallelujah chorus at the end. And so some churches can pull that off real well, and others, it's not exactly what you would call.
Does it scream resurrection?
It doesn't. But I remember at one of those churches, I went over to sing and they invite people up from the congregation too. And I remember saying to my friend, "Did you bring my Messiah?" And it hit me like a ton of bricks that's the way we experience Easter, is in somebody else bringing the Messiah to us. And it was just in a off cuff, just kind of that's always stuck with me. Am I carrying the Messiah for someone? Am I offering that to someone? And that has always meant Easter to me, Yeah. Who needs the Messiah? So anyway, just didn't mean to go in a different direction, but
you really changed Peep talk.
But that, from Peeps to the Hallelujah chorus. So
it's funny because when I was in youth group, our choir director would always, before worship started, you'd have like the sing-alongs, and you could just shout out a number for whatever hymn you wanted to sing. And every time I'd shout that one out, and she would just roll her eyes and just move on. Like, come on, hymn 37. Hallelujah. Yeah. Wouldn't happen. Vic, Josh, thoughts, favorite things?
Well, one of my favorite Easter memories was actually at White Rock a couple of years ago. So I always do like a science experiment for children's time, because there's something about I think like the kind of mystery of Easter that pairs really well with science experiments. And a couple of years ago, the science experiment we did was about I don't explain it first. I just do it and then we explain it later. But I basically filled this probably, I think I bought 6 gallons of vegetable oil, and I filled like a vat full of vegetable oil. And there's a property called the light of refraction, the refraction point. And so oil and a particular type of glass have the same refraction point of light. And so when you put the glass in the oil, it looks like it disappears. And so what I had already done is I had put a whole pitcher inside the oil, and the kids obviously couldn't see it. And then I smashed a pitcher on the stage, and I said, this is what happened when Jesus died. And I dumped the shards in the oil, which disappear. And then they don't know this, but then I pulled out the whole one, and there are probably 50 kids up at the front, and they're all completely silent. And one little girl just goes, "Whoa." And that's the only sound you hear. And they're just the kids, their eyes are so big. And I'm like, this is what happens on Easter morning. And they're just I've never seen so many children so silent. It was amazing.
Yeah,
they were very locked in.
That whoa was hilarious. And you kind of are I wonder if that's what Mary Magdalene does when she gets to do, just Whoa.
Whoa.
The stairs at like, it's just so funny. You could hear it because everyone was so quiet. And that oil was disgusting. That was so
yeah.
There was so much oil, and I was so anxious that it was gonna like fall over, and like just oil was just gonna go everywhere.
I ruined my suede boots that morning.
Yeah, we had to carry it. Yeah, Josh had rubber boots on to deal with the oil.
No, they were suede, and it ruined the boots because I got a giant oil stain on the suede. I couldn't get it out. So
it was worth it, Josh, for Easter.
Yeah, and Victoria told me not to wear my boots, and I was like, I'll be fine. And I was not fine.
Lesson learned.
I
right?
You had another pair of shoes, Josh, that you could wear.
If only.
For those who don't know, Josh, he's a bit of a sneakerhead. Or if you would have just had new sandals like me.
Aspiring.
You wearing some? What shoes are you repping for Easter, Josh?
So I've got some multicolored, like light pastel colored Air Force One highs. So that's what we're wearing. Oh. It'll go good with like the Monsteria print that I've got on my Easter shirt right now.
Yeah, looking good. You're looking sharp. Yeah, Josh is by far the best dressed on staff. Wearing flip flops and
all time dressed though is Kyle Oberchrome, who consistently shows up to Easter morning in a 3-piece suit, and he's up there playing like his stand-up bass in the folk band. Yeah, he's like,
you can't top that.
Yeah, you can't top that.
That's impressive. Wait, so Vic, do we get? Is there going to be a magic trick?
There is going to be a science experiment. Yeah, this week, today.
Sorry,
yes.
Science experiment, not magic trick. That's what I meant.
I mean, a little bit. I mean, it's kind of like magic, and then you explain the science behind it, and then you're like, yeah, we don't have science to explain what happened on Easter, so equally as magical.
Victoria does science, Keith does magic. That's the difference.
There we go.
Sure.
I do. You know, something else kind of flooding back. I mean, everything builds up to Easter, and then you're absolutely worn out. I mean, just so about it's got to be 25, maybe 30, 25 or 30 years ago, I would call and collect preacher friends, and I would book a hotel. And we would get between 15 and 18 families that would show up. We usually go to the Marriott Quorum. They're off the toll road, and because they have an indoor-outdoor pool, so if it was raining, it wasn't any big deal. You know, you're inside, and we would all get together. And of course, the preachers and spouses would make appointments because it was an appointment season, the kitchen cabinet, as it's called. But the kids would all play. And so Mitchell has many, and Becca too, childhood friends that were clergy kids throughout the conference. Yeah. But they would play in the pool, and we would make appointments and stay up till late at night and then have a big brunch the next morning because all the kids were out of school. And it was just a delightful time, a real bonding time. Yeah. And it was one of the more meaningful things that Easter meant to us as a family, to be with colleagues.
So I have a question.
Resurrect that.
What'd you say, Bill?
I said you're going to resurrect that.
I've actually thought about it. Yeah. I mean, you put in so much work church staffs just put in so much work during Holy Week that tomorrow we're going to be off as a staff. And there's something to be said about finding an ultimate or true Sabbath on Easter for the church, because so much is leading up to this day.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Rebecca?
I was going to say, I have a question. For a lot of people go and have big Easter meals. And this year may be a little different, but people are starting to make their own bubbles. And so they're having bigger and bigger bubbles because people are vaccinated. Anyway, I don't really do that ever. I don't really do the the big meal because I'm so tired. I just go home and like turn on a movie, make a turkey sandwich, and sleep all afternoon. So like, I'm really curious what y'all do on like an Easter afternoon. Like, is it a big meal or is it a nap? Is it a glass of wine? Like, how do you care for yourself after you've been caring for these hundreds of people?
Yeah. What are y'all doing this afternoon?
As much as I would love to take a nap, the reality is my 3 kids would probably never let me take a nap today. Although Thomas will be sleeping, so maybe I'll just use that as an excuse to nap with Thomas. But yeah, I actually don't know what we're gonna do this afternoon. We had talked about it, maybe trying to do a get together with some folks, but it seemed like everybody was still not quite ready to make that adventure. And so I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna do this afternoon. Isn't that terrible? I don't even know what my plans are later today.
That's not terrible. That's part of life.
Part of it is just like getting through this morning, you know, which is terrible to say too. In all the best ways, getting through in all the best ways.
Totally.
The last few years we've been doing chicken and waffles.
Ooh,
Good choice.
Today I've got a spiral ham on the smoker.
Spiral ham on the smoker. Wow.
Josh, what are you doing?
Shout out to Daily on Provisions. I think we've ordered some of their Easter. Is it lemonade marinated chicken? Did I read that right? On
Yes.
fried chicken.
Yeah.
And some biscuits. And my family, like, they always want to do like a big Easter dinner or lunch type of situation. So it like you said, Rebecca, it's like we're pretty wiped at the end of every Easter. But luckily, my mom she just enjoys like these really like big Thanksgiving, Christmas, all that kind of stuff. And so she does most of the legwork. But I was like, why don't you let me help out? I've got a plug for food that's delicious. And we'll combine and we'll like take the load off everyone because it's been a hard year for everyone. So that's our plan for this afternoon.
What time do y'all eat?
That's a good question. It really depends on when we get there.
Totally.
And who's running late. Is it us? Is it them? Is it all of us? It depends every year. Usually I would say like an early dinner, but sometimes it can be like a lunch.
Which is supper,
who knows?
Right? I always get this confused. Supper's the early one?
Supper. Yeah. If you're in the South, you have breakfast, then you have dinner, then you have supper at like 4:30 or 5 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
These are not words that my family used to describe meals.
I just thought it was dinner.
Dinner is lunch, but dinner and supper can be in the evening.
Right.
But you never have supper for lunch.
Right.
But you have dinner for lunch or breakfast for dinner, which
For
supper.
For dinner, sure.
Yeah.
always my go-to.
You don't have breakfast for supper. You have breakfast for dinner.
Supper for lunch would be ridiculous.
But who does that? Who has supper for lunch?
I mean, truly though, if we can just circle back and talk about how delicious Terry DeLeon's fried chicken is, like that's making me really jealous, Josh.
Yeah, I really wish I would have thought ahead and done that too.
Maybe one of the greatest tragedies of this pandemic was the canceling of their New Year's party, which has their fried chicken on New Year's Day and
endless fried chicken.
Endless fried chicken. Yeah.
How is that possible? It's like bottomless. It's like it really is bottomless, and there's gravy.
You just don't see Terry for like 6 hours.
Which I think she's probably okay with, just sitting by the fire.
Yeah, totally.
I hear a food theme emerging here among us about Easter.
What'd you say?
Did I hear very much a food theme emerging among us here about Easter?
Totally. And then
there's just a food thing. There's a food thing on the staff in general. Yeah.
Wait, who is it? I kept hearing rumor of all these pies before I came on staff that I haven't got to
experience. Marvel's pies. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One time her pie auctioned off for $150 at a youth bake sale.
Yep.
I don't think
that was before anybody even bid. Like it was like I think 2 people bid on. The second person was like, "I want this pie, $150. Here you go."
Yep. Kevin Val, I think, bought it for $150 just right there on the spot. We were like, okay, we're not even going to auction it here. Just take it for $150. You give us $150 for a pie, you can just take it. I think one of the things that maybe the most upset I've ever been with the church staff was one day Marvel dropped off a pie in the office
That's what I was going
And
to
it
say.
was all gone before I got back to the office. And
That
no
was
one
Neil's
said
fault.
it was nice.
I said to Neil, we should wait until everybody gets here. And he looked at me and goes, it's hot. I'm eating this pie.
All gone.
You should always blame Neil.
All gone.
I literally was like, Neil, don't you want to wait? He was like, no, it's a warm pie. I'm eating this. And I was like, okay.
All gone.
So he got a fork. So he got
and
a
then,
fork and ate the
Yep,
pie.
right. Just
Marvel asked us the next day, she was like, is there any pie left? I was like, oh, you're cute. No, there's no pie left.
Well, as much as I love this conversation, and I'm glad that everybody has gotten a little insight into who we are as a staff, I also recognize the time is ticking, and it's almost time for us to start Easter worship. So any last words for anybody? Actually, let's do this. Why don't you introduce yourself and say what you do at the church, and then we'll end that way, since we have gone this whole route without actually introducing ourselves. Rebecca, you're first on the screen for me. Why don't you go?
I am Rebecca Garrett Pace. I am the Minister of Worship and the Arts here at White Rock. I've been here, I'm finishing up my 6th year. So I work with the chancel choir, folk band, drum circles, worship every week, all kinds of stuff.
Great. Josh.
Nice. I'm Josh Esparza. I didn't know if I was next on my end or your end, but here we are. I'm the campus pastor over at Owenwood, our 2nd campus. Also serve as an associate pastor at White Rock, so I'm involved in White Rock things too. And it'll be 3 years in July, which is wild to think about.
Yeah, awesome. Vic.
My name is Victoria Sen Esparza. I am the minister to children, youth, and families, which means that basically if you have a kid or you are not 18, we get to hang out. I've been at White Rock. I just hit 3 years in the end of January, actually.
Awesome. Keith?
I'm Keith Boone. I'm associate pastor for congregational care and also for Senior Life Ministries. And that is for those, we usually roughly say those 55 and above. And so the many ministries that we have with our senior adults. And I've been on staff since July 1. So, not that long. Not that long. 6, 7 months. Yeah.
Yeah. Mitchell?
Yeah, my name is Mitchell Boone. I'm the senior pastor. Been here at White Rock for 9 years, and start my 10th year in July. And really grateful to be able to spend this time with you all. Obviously, if you're watching this, that means that you've tuned in for worship here at White Rock on Easter. And so we are really, really excited to have you join us for Easter worship this morning. And we can't wait to get started here in just a few minutes, right, Phil? Literally.
That's right. Yep. And I didn't introduce myself either. I'm Phil Dieke. I'm also one of the associate pastors. I started in July, same time Keith did, and my role is with discipleship and digital ministry. So I look, as much as I love digital ministry, I'm really excited about having in-person worship again, because I haven't met most of the people in this church, and I'm really excited about getting a chance to do that. All right, friends, thanks so much for joining us. We're going to be back for worship in just a couple of minutes. Happy Easter, everyone.